Hi, this is Xiaowei from the University of British Columbia. My paper title is CHOPIN, Scalable Graphics Rendering in Multi-GPU Systems while Parallel Image Compilation. In this paper, we aim to extend performance scaling of graphics rendering in the latest multi-GPU systems, for example, NVIDIA's DGX system. We found that the performance scaling of prior solutions is limited because they have redundant computing and sequential inter-GPU communication. In our work, we observed that there are lots of parallelisms in image compilation that can be leveraged to eliminate the bottlenecks of prior work. It turns out that our solution can outperform the best prior scheme by up to 56% and 25% on average. First, let's look at how graphics pipeline works. Graphics pipeline starts from 3D primitives in object space. In the first stage, the 3D primitives will be projected to the 2D screen space. In the second stage, the 2D primitives will be rasterized into small fragments. In the third stage, the fragments will be processed to generate final pixels. It looks very simple, however, right now we have higher and higher resolution requirements. We also want more and more level of details, more and more special effects. All these things will push us to think about multi-GPU rendering to meet the increasing performance requirements. In multi-GPU platform, we need to distribute workload between GPUs. After workload distribution, it's necessary to do inter-GPU synchronization to generate final image. Otherwise, we will get separate sub-images in different GPUs. That's not the result we want. However, during inter-GPU synchronization, we cannot break the primitive depth order. For example, we cannot change the relative positions of the red triangle and the yellow triangle. Otherwise, the visual effect of the final image will be wrong. In multi-GPU rendering, people usually divide the screen space into multiple regions and assign screen regions to different GPUs. Conventionally, limited by the performance of inter-GPU links, people tried their best not to do inter-GPU synchronization, so they duplicate all primitives in each GPU. Along the execution of a graphics pipeline, each GPU will gradually filter out primitives and fragments that belong to the screen regions of other GPUs. This solution is very simple, but performance is limited by the redundant computing, because every GPU needs to process all primitives of the whole frame. After we have more and more GPUs, the redundancy will go higher. In order to reduce the redundant computing, people also proposed the GPU PD by leveraging the latest inter-GPU links, for example, NVLink. In GPU PD, we first need to evenly distribute the primitives between GPUs. Each GPU will project the primitives to screen space. After projection, we will know the destination screen regions or destination GPUs of each primitive. Based on projection results, we later on can exchange primitives between GPUs. After each GPU gets its own necessary primitives, it will run normal graphics pipeline. However, as I described earlier, it's necessary to protect the order of input primitives, so GPU PD requires sequential inter-GPU communication. As we know, in parallel system, sequential communication can become bottleneck very easily after we have more and more GPUs. We found that the parallelism of image compilation can be leveraged to eliminate the bottlenecks in prior work. We simply classify image compilation into two types, opaque image compilation and semi-transparent image compilation. For opaque compilation, it's very simple because we only need to occlude pixels that are further to the camera. This can be in an outward order. It's pretty straightforward because the final result is the pixel that is closest to the camera. This has nothing to do with the order of pixels that participate in the compilation. For the semi-transparent image compilation, it's more complicated because semi-transparent pixels cannot occlude each other. So we need to blend two pixels with an operator function. The operation is usually not commutative, but it's associative. For example, if we try to compose three pixels A, B, and C, we can compose A and B first, later with C. We can also compose B and C first, later with A. By leveraging this associativity, we can start to compose adjacent sub-images once they are ready. So in a short conclusion, we found that for both opaque and semi-transparent image compositions, we have some parallelisms that can be taken advantage. Let's see how our system uses the parallelism. In our system, we first send draw commands to different GPUs. So we don't have redundant computing because each draw command only gets executed in a single GPU. After all GPUs generate their sub-images, we start to compose them in parallel by leveraging the parallelisms I just described in my prior slide. It looks very simple, but it cannot work naively. So we also proposed a drug command scheduler to reduce load imbalance between GPUs. We also proposed an image composition scheduler to avoid network congestion during image compilation. We tested our mechanism in an 8 GPU system with 8 real-world game traces. We found that our system can outperform best prior solution by 25%. The performance is within 5% of the idealized system with image compilation. So we believe our mechanism is more scalable and more efficient than prior work. We also tested if our scheme can be scaled to modern and future games. We profiled a latest game called Crisis Remastered. We found that on average, each frame have 12 million triangles, and unlike traditional games, in this game, the average primitive processing time has been slightly larger than the average fragment processing time. So we can find that probably in modern and future games, there will be bigger number of triangles and longer primitive processing time. This will result in more redundant computing if we choose to duplicate all primitives in every GPU. It also can result in a larger sequential bottleneck if we choose to exchange primitives sequentially between GPUs. So we believe modern and future games will favor schemes that take advantage of the parallel image compilation, because the parallelisms can help us conquer the bottlenecks of prior work. In summary, we found that prior solutions is not scalable because they have redundant computing and sequential inter-GPU communication. We observed that there are lots of parallelisms in image compilation. By leveraging the parallelism, we can eliminate the bottlenecks of prior work and extend performance scaling. We also found that modern and future games will favor the schemes that take advantage of parallel image compilation. Thank you very much. You're welcome to contact me for any questions and discussions. Thank you.